Toast. Toast. Toast.
Toast. You gonna toast? You've been saying it for
toast.
Toast to you, mon frere.
Here's to Tom Cruise.
I like Tom Cruise. Got to make sure that Yingling label's showing so our sponsors are happy.
I have yet to see a dime from the Yingling Corporation.
Didn't get that check I sent you?
Bastard.
What is up, interwebs? Big Lou here. Matt, the Cut Man, with me, as always.
Cheers.
And we have been absent. I don't know why. Probably because...
Shit's going on.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, we are here.
Turns out I have a little more hair.
I don't, as per usual. Figured it was about time that we got this ball rolling again. And what better way to get the ball rolling than with a new version of the Justice League?
Yes.
We are going to be doing a full deep dive discussion about Zack Snyder's Justice League, otherwise known as the SnyderCut.
SnyderCut.
This is not going to be a comparison between Joss Whedon's and the Snyderverse. Obviously, we'll compare a little
independent.
Yeah, but we are not going to trash one to raise the other up. We feel that this movie should stand on its own, and that's what we're going to be talking about. That being said, Cutman, what'd you think of Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I laughed, I cried. I mean, literally, I laughed and I cried.
Yeah.
It was... I'm curious if this is the way we will take in entertainment.
I hope so.
Because
It's been a minute since we've had to speak good.
Because, so the last few things that have been out that weren't movies were, Mandalorian, WandaVision, all long story, long form format.
Yeah.
And I hope that is where we go. Because if I had to sit in a theater and watch a 4-hour Justice League, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Sitting at my house where I can pause, I can let the dog out, I can go make a cocktail.
Yep. Stretch your legs a little bit.
Enjoy the day. I mean, I didn't take a sick day for this. I just happened to be on a
take the day off. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the day off, and I was able to enjoy it properly.
Yeah.
Not too intense at first, it was exactly what I wanted from this type of story that needed to be long. And one of my favorite books is the Iliad.
Yes.
And this reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Of just this long, epic journey.
Well, when you have characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these larger-than-life, godlike characters, they have to have room to have their story told in such a way that feels earned. Yeah. And this 4-hour runtime, to me, felt earned. Yeah. Everything about it, I mean, could this story have been told in 3.5 hours? Sure.
It was, and it wasn't what this was.
Yeah. I think that everything that Zack chose to put in this movie was the correct choice to put in this movie.
Because it needed context and detail.
Yes.
And it needed the time for the payoff.
Yes.
And this allowed that time.
Now, did we need a 6-minute slow motion football sequence of, Victor before he got into the accident? But
yes.
There you go. Apparently, yes. Did we need to see, Slovakian folk singers, sniffing Aquaman's sweater after he dove into the ocean?
They were Finlandian.
Whatever. But point is,
as people from Finland tend to be.
So the point is that everything that was put in this film was put there intentionally and with purpose. And it was... I'm thrilled that it was. I loved going on the journey that Zack Snyder took us on. And like you, I hope that going forward, this is the type of medium that we have to experience this long-form storytelling.
Because it reminds me of the last two Avengers movies.
Yes.
It needed to be that long in order to tell the proper story.
Yeah.
And the story on this one was loss.
Yeah.
And each character had deep grief and loss in their life. I mean, Bruce Wayne with his parents, Clark with his entire planet.
Yeah.
Victor, Cyborg, his father.
His entire being.
Yeah. And that, I was so happy to see that story be told because it makes his entire purpose for being there clear.
Yeah.
Diana with Steve, Barry
with his dad.
What?
Barry with his dad.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought it was both of his parents.
Well, I mean, his mom was... Yeah, okay. So his dad in the immediate and his mom from when he was a kid. Yeah, for sure.
Even though that's not actually seen on screen.
Yeah.
But it's... And, of course, the entire movie is directed by Zack Snyder, who...
Yeah.
And God bless him,
If you didn't burst into tears at the end when For Autumn popped up at the end of that, you're a fucking robot.
Yeah, and you should just be sent back.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you know what that means, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you don't, check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just... The word that came to mind was catharsis.
Sure.
It was just this... I mean, Aristotle said catharsis was a purification of emotions through art. And that's what this was. And you can tell...
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. You always teaching me stuff.
Well, I thought I'd,
class up the show.
You read enough Greek mythology, something's going to seep in.
If it wasn't for you, this show would be like, this movie good. I like it a lot. Go see it.
But it reminded me of great leaders throughout time.
Okay.
Have always endured this kind of loss. Lincoln.
Sure.
Hamilton. Our current president cannot imagine more loss than what these people have felt. And I'm going to throw this in there. It's going to seem strange. Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
So Conan got hired to be, the host of the Tonight Show, and he was summarily fired.
Right. Yeah.
Like a couple months into his run, and he closed his last show by saying, "Nobody in life gets exactly what they thought they were going to get, but if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen."
Yeah.
And that's just what this reminded me of. Just like, yes, endure, but be kind and work hard.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of the message that I got through this whole thing.
Yeah, no, the overall themes of this movie, and to call it a movie seems like a disservice, because this was not a movie. This was a full-on event.
It was an epic.
Yeah. I mean, because it was just on a scale that was... I can't even think of anything to compare the scale of this, piece of storytelling to. Maybe Lord of the Rings.
I go back to the Greek tragedies.
Yeah, for sure. But I loved how this movie took its time, and you had mentioned that each of the characters was there for a purpose. We see, Victor, and we get some of his backstory. We see Aquaman, we get some of his backstory. And I loved seeing all the different pieces come together, and in such a way that, and I said before, and I'll probably keep saying it, that it was earned, that they were there. We feel the guilt that Bruce Wayne feels over being responsible for the death of Clark. We get that, he's trying to, and he said, I think the line similar to, I made a promise. I made it on his grave that I would do, bring this team together and stuff like that. So
that's what really hit home to me. It's like, yes, I made a promise on his grave.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is now my life's journey.
Yeah.
And he is someone with considerable means in order to do this. And he's probably the only person in the world. In that world, Elon Musk doesn't exist. So
that we know of.
We go with the
Elon Musk is Marvel.
Yeah. It's because he's been in a Marvel movie.
Yes. So, and then, of course, then we start talking about some of the character dynamics and how they interact with each other. I mean, obviously, I think that some of my favorite moments were some of the stuff between Bruce and Diana. I will say one of the first things that I will compare to the Justice League, as people have started calling it, is I did miss that scene where she like sets his arm back after they have the confrontation with Superman, and she's like, you can't do this forever, and he's like, I could barely do it now.
Yeah.
So I did miss some of their interactions and stuff, because I always liked the Bruce and Diana the chemistry that they had, and I think that Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot had great chemistry.
You got a sense of it though when they both went for the mouse.
Yeah.
But the problem was, I mean, Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
If you're gonna show a gun in the first act, it better go off by the second.
Yeah.
You got them both reaching for a mouse, and then nothing else.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because there were bigger things at stake.
Perhaps, but I mean, they could take away to the Batcave. Speaking of the Batcave,
yes,
a lot of the scenes in the original Justice League took place in the Batcave. When Batman's working on the plane, that originally was in the Batcave.
I don't think so.
I thought it was.
I always thought it was in the hangar.
It was a hangar, but it was the Batcave hangar. And this got replaced by Wayne Aerospace.
Right,
and they did an establishing shot. Wayne Aerospace, for some inexplicable reason, is in the water.
Why not?
I mean, I'm a pilot. I always land on the water. But a lot of the background places were just replaced. And this shows you that these background places, the Batcave or Wayne Aerospace, don't actually exist.
Yeah.
It's all done digitally. A lot of the scenes that like the fight scene between all of them and Superman at the monument, that was actually filmed indoors.
Yeah.
But it looks like it was shot at some park in Metropolis.
Yeah. Which, shocker, does not exist.
There is a Metropolis. I've been there.
Spoiler alert. Metropolis ain't a real place.
Another one of the differences between the MCU and DC.
You've got Gotham, Metropolis, Central City, National City, Star City.
Yeah, they weren't great on the namings. There's a lot of just blank cities.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like in the MCU, like Spider-Man really is from
New York.
Queens.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's always been because I mean, Stan Lee was always, I want to feel like these are real people that are from places that you would go to. But anyway, that'll be a different video. So I mean, you got a whole page full of notes there. What else you got?
Steppenwolf.
Yes.
He made sense in this one.
Yes.
He really struggled. I mean, him trying to find the mother boxes.
You actually felt for him a little bit, too. It's like being ostracized for failure and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I read an interesting review.
Excuse me.
And it said that Steppenwolf was Dwight and Darkseid was Michael Scott. He was always just searching for his approval.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf was searching for Darkseid's approval.
Yeah.
And not getting it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But
it made him an interesting character.
Yes.
It made him one like Loki.
Yeah.
That you didn't maybe root for, but you're interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it definitely gave him the depth of somebody that you believed in his mission, or you believed that he believed in his mission, right, rather than someone with just a mother fetish that was like, oh, mother, right. Again, we're not bashing the other movie to raise this one up, but it was a lot more. I bought it a lot more in this than I bought it in the other iteration.
I mean, one of the things that you always say is that you don't like bad people being bad for no reason.
Mustache twirling.
Right. That's not real.
My sister calls them Captain Planet villains. Because if you remember, though, Captain Planet is I'm going to poison that water hole because I can.
You're right. Yeah. He had a purpose. It was dark and horrible, but he was driving towards that.
Yeah.
And another thing about Steppenwolf was his armor.
Yeah.
How cool was that? It was dynamic.
Yeah.
When he needed to go into combat, spikes erupted from the sides of it, and depending on his mood, it would just change. When he saw Darkseid, his helmet dropped away, and then his shoulder gauntlets dropped away, and he was out of respect.
And then when he was fighting the Amazons, all the arrows sticking out of him, he clinched his armor together and it severed them all off. It was okay.
That was so cool. That was
one of those I saw it coming, and I still was yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, so now we have Darkseid.
Yes.
Come on.
I loved what they did with Darkseid. I will say I was slightly disappointed in some of the marketing. Some of the marketing of this movie made it seem like we were going to get this epic Darkseid battle.
Yeah.
And he was in it for sure, and they did an amazing job with it, and I loved everything that we got of him. But the marketing led me to believe that we were going to be getting a lot more than we did. And basically, everything that we've seen in the marketing is pretty much what we saw of Darkseid.
Yeah, and I mean, that obviously was meant to tee up future movies. And, this brings me, I know we weren't going to, compare the two.
Yeah, but we're not going to be able to talk about this movie without comparing it to the other at times. So,
but, and I'm a huge fan of Joss Whedon, of all of his work. And I'm curious as to why they brought him in, but I'm even more curious as to his thought process on doing this, because the story elements from this are almost identical to the story elements from the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, if you swap out Steppenwolf for Loki, swap out Thanos, or Darkseid for Thanos, it's basically the same story. And I gotta think that Joss Whedon was probably thinking, well, I just got done making the Avengers.
Yeah.
I can't just copy it. People will think that I'm just doing the same thing.
I have the thought, and I'm a fan of Joss Whedon's work as well. His work.
Be clear.
Yeah. I'm of the opinion that when Joss Whedon plays in his own sandbox, we get Buffy. We get Firefly.
Yeah.
We get the first Avengers. When Joss Whedon is forced to play in somebody else's sandbox, we get Age of Ultron. We get Justice League.
Yeah.
So those are still, Age of Ultron's still a great movie. It's not the follow-up to Avengers that I know Joss Whedon wanted to tell.
Yeah, that's true. That's accurate.
So, again, and I think that the Justice League, the theatrical Justice League suffered from Joss having to come in and play with somebody else's toys.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the movie was shot, and so basically he just went in and did more scenes, and then edited it together, and it was like, here, you do this, and then I'll take my check now.
Well, and I will also say the other thing, too, is that he was given a hard stop. You cannot go past 2-hour runtime from the studio. The studio mandated you will stop this movie at a 2-hour runtime. Yeah. And that, for a movie like this...
Which is why I'm hoping so much that it actually changes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe the one good thing of this global fucking pandemic is that entertainment actually changes.
Yeah.
It's not some studio packaged piece of whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the studio doesn't really care what the movie is as long as people buy tickets for it.
Yeah.
And this, I think, will change that dynamic. It'll change that paradigm.
Both HBO Max and Disney Plus are, I think, proving to studio executives and to shareholders that there is definitely a market for high-quality, long-story format for people to watch at home.
Yeah. I think podcasting has proven that paradigm to be true.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that something like DC, which in my opinion is darker than Marvel. I have gotten into arguments about this. Some people say no, some people say yes.
It's for as far as the cinematic stuff goes, absolutely. There are parts of Marvel that are infinitely darker than DC.
And that's up for discussion.
Yeah.
But I think that DC needs to be unfettered by the MPAA.
Yes.
Or some sort of R rating.
I also know that there's something to be said for if you can't take a 10-year-old to see a Superman movie, you need to rethink how you're doing Superman.
I would disagree.
Yeah.
I think there's room for both. I mean, Marvel did it with Deadpool.
Sure.
Proved that
Deadpool was never meant for kids, though.
That's true. But I mean, you don't
have 8-year-olds with Deadpool sheets and Deadpool underoos.
Look, I don't know what happens in 8-year-old sheets.
I'm just saying that there's a huge difference between the
Superman is meant to be a symbol for good.
Yes.
Or what was it? Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this symbol means.
Well, on Earth it looks like an S.
Thank you, Lois.
But there are times when these stories call for blood spatter and curse language. And if there is no better example, it is the epilogue to this story.
Mm-hmm.
Batman, and we're getting into some spoiler territory.
I said at the beginning.
Okay, I'm just saying.
A deep dive discussion. If they,
Batman talking to the Joker.
Yeah.
And the line was,
"When I kill you,
make no mistake about it, and I will fucking kill you."
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was so good. I backed it up and watched it 3 times. So good. Make no mistake, I will fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I loved that whole sequence. Just because the nerd in me was just, I love that whole sequence. But I do know that there are a lot of people that will bump up against everything that you just said that you're a fan of. The blood spatter on the walls,
yes.
The F-bombs, the grown-up tone. I'm here for all of it. I'll watch it, all day, but
it reminds me of in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
I was not a huge fan of that movie. I've watched it a couple more times now. I still hold that opinion. But the Batman fight scene in the warehouse when he goes to save Martha is my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
And he rips some dudes up.
Yeah.
When he throws the crate and it just...
Yeah.
That's what you want.
That whole
That's
fight...
the business!
That whole fight sequence is... big. I know you're not a big gamer. But that whole fight sequence is basically a level from Arkham Asylum or Arkham City.
Okay.
It's like, you're Batman, and he does moves in that sequence that are combos in the game. that thing where he throws the crate, it's right out of the fucking game. It's great.
Finish him.
Yeah. Get over here.
Can we talk a little bit about Hallelujah?
Yes. Hallelujah.
That was... I mean, I'm a huge fan of that song.
Sure.
In just about any iteration.
Sure.
And that really... You mentioned it before. It fades to black at the end of the movie, and then it says "For Autumn," and then this epic hallelujah starts. Apparently, it's done by a woman named Alison Crowe.
Yes.
And that was a YouTube video from about 15 years ago of her doing this operatic piano version of Hallelujah. And apparently, that was Autumn Snyder's favorite song. Not only favorite song, but that version of it was.
Right, yeah.
And so when this movie was coming out, Zack reached out to the artist, Alison Crowe, and said, "Hey, my daughter was a huge fan of this. Would you please do a version of it for Justice League?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, but I'm not sure how I can. I don't know where to go."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I just need it in a couple days."
Yeah.
And she got together with some theater friends of hers and got to a recording studio and recorded this version of Hallelujah specifically for this movie. And knowing Zack and his family.
All the backstory of Autumn and the tragedy and everything, yeah.
And when you listen to it in that context,
it's
Puccini.
Yeah, yeah. I can't hear the name Puccini without thinking of the line from Red October where he goes, but it's not to... Puccini was a tenor. Paganini was a composer. It's like, whatever. Anyway, yes, the version of that song that's played over the credits in this version is...
It's heartbreaking.
But it's incredibly beautiful
and it's
as well.
so moving.
Yeah, yeah. And for those of you who are not familiar with what we're talking about, if you've watched this far into us talking about it, I'm sure you know, but for those of you who don't, Zack Snyder's daughter Autumn committed suicide during the production of Justice League. And that's why...
She was a young girl. She was off at college.
Yes, yeah. She was 20 years old, committed suicide. And that's why Zack and Deborah Snyder stepped away from the production when it was still in production. And this is the song that was played at her graveside.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very, very significant song to Zack and Deborah Snyder and the whole family and stuff. And if you or anyone are thinking about or even tempted by any type of suicide, please seek help. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put the phone number for the suicide prevention hotline down in the description of this video below. Zack and Deborah Snyder have actually raised almost $1 million to help with charitable organizations to bring awareness to suicide and stuff like that. And it is a vastly not talked about enough topic because of the sensitivity of it. Yeah. And it definitely needs to be talked about more because the more that it's talked about, I think the less that it will happen.
Yeah, when you shine the light into it,
yeah.
It's gonna. I keep the number for the suicide prevention hotline in my phone.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for me, but just in case I need information. If I have a friend in trouble or whatever.
Sure.
Just it's good to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, back to superhero stuff. What else you got on your list there, Cutman?
I love how we can juxtapose that with our favorite line was Batman saying, "I will fucking kill you."
I will fucking kill you. Yeah, yeah. The whole nightmare sequence.
It's so different.
Yeah, yeah.
It happened at the end of the movie as opposed to in the middle.
It wasn't even in.
There was a nightmare sequence in the original when Batman's for some reason wearing a trench coat and having a gun.
That's in Batman v Superman.
Is it?
Yeah. And Flash comes to him and says,
"Right, that wasn't in Justice League."
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, full disclosure, I've been rewatching all of Zack Snyder's.
No, it was in Watchmen. Yeah. No.
There's a very different version of Hallelujah in Watchmen. I love it equally, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, the Leonard Cohen version is in Watchmen.
Yeah.
So, but no, the nightmare sequence that you're talking about, where he's there and all the parademons show up and stuff like that, that's in BVS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes more sense now.
Yeah. No, this at the end of Justice League, where we get, the conversation between Batman and the Joker, and then we see, Mohawk version of Deathstroke, and Mira's there, and the armor plating on the Flash, and the thing closes on him, and they're getting ready to go into battle, and that was really cool. I think all of that was all new stuff that was shot specifically for this.
I know there was about 5 minutes screen time of new material that was shot.
Yeah.
But what this sets up an entire universe.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see the fruits of that labor?
Dude, we need to continue the Restore the Snyderverse hashtag that's been going around the past day or so, because I want to see more Harry Lennox as Martian Manhunter. I want to see more of I'm for all of it. Now, that's not to say I'm also not excited about J.J. Abrams' Superman movie. I'm also really excited about Matt Reeves' Batman movie. The fact that Warner Brothers and DC is fully embracing the fact that DC Comics has been founded on the theory of the multiverse for a long time, and now they're realizing that audiences are smart enough to know that just because Ben Affleck is Batman and Robert Pattinson is Batman doesn't mean that they're not the same person. We get that. It's a different universe.
And it's been established going back so far as James Bond.
Yes.
I mean, come on, you don't have to explain that there are different James, although there are theories that James Bond is a pseudonym for a British assassin.
Yeah, which is why there's only 9 00 operatives. Yeah. So anyway, that's a different show. Welcome to Bond Talk on the Interweb show. Anyway.
We need tea for that.
Yeah.
Or a martini.
Yeah.
Are there martinis here?
No.
Damn it!
You're the one that brings.
Damn it, Lou!
You're the one that brings the alcohol, so you only have yourself to blame. What was I saying? Oh, the other thing that I would love to see more is I want more Henry Cavill as Superman. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. And I know there's somebody going to be watching this, and you know who you are, who just stopped the video because you can't stand Henry Cavill as Superman. Hashtag not your Superman. Whatever. Get over it. I love Henry Cavill as Superman.
Can I tell you the thing that annoys me the most about Henry Cavill?
Please.
Is there more of a handsome person on this planet? Come on.
Well, I
mean, no one should look that good.
You do have this handsome devil sitting next to you.
I mean, how do people not know that he's an alien?
Yeah.
If somebody that handsome walks down the street, I'm thinking, okay, that guy's an alien.
Yeah, that
doesn't belong on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So get out of here.
I love him so much. And the fact that he loves playing that character so much, please give him more Superman movies.
He's really good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Ben Affleck as Batman.
I do too. I like the idea of like an older, gruff Batman who's just tired of shit and he is just going to crack some skulls.
Speaking of old, gruff Batman, I really hope the rumors are true that Keaton is coming back to play old Bruce Wayne in the Flash movie. Yeah, I'm down for that too.
Keaton as Batman is actually my favorite iteration. Not because of the Batman, but because of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I
like Keaton as Bruce Wayne more than I like him as Batman for the same reasons that I like Christian Bale as
Batman.
Batman more than Bruce Wayne.
Yes. There's actually a part in Batman Returns when he's fighting a bunch of the clowns, and he punches the clown a bunch of times and nothing happens, and then the clown looks down and he's got a time bomb on his chest, and Batman just kind of smiles at him and walks away, and then he explodes. That's just the deviousness that you would think a billionaire vigilante would have in his head.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're dead now, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I loved, because I mean, when I was a kid, obviously, the biff bam pow of
Adam West
was Batman, but 89, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton, I was just getting old enough to know what it meant for superhero movies and to be excited about it. And Michael Keaton is my Batman. And I love those movies. The first one more so than the second one. The second one's a little weird, even now. But, I mean, Danny DeVito in that movie still creeps me out. Just because,
I'm looking forward to Colin Farrell.
Yeah. But
I mean, just in general, I like Colin Farrell.
I think my first boy-girl thing that I knew what that meant was for Michelle Pfeiffer in the Catwoman suit. But hey, so yeah, really excited about the potential that we could possibly get more in the Snyderverse setting, because I mean, we've got the Flash movie. Obviously, we're going to be getting another Wonder Woman movie. We're going to be getting Aquaman 2 at some point, which I really hope is better than the first Aquaman movie. I was not a fan of that movie at all.
I mean, the bar is pretty low.
Yeah. God. The movie was so bad.
I mean, I like Jason Momoa and love Amber Heard.
I love every person about that movie.
Just not the writing.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote it.
The story was just so bad. Anyway, we're not talking about but I will say Aquaman in this Justice League movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
He still had that,
fuck you attitude.
Thank you. Yeah, I was looking for more of a fancy way to say it, but yeah, he's definitely got that, I don't give a fuck about, your world, but I'm going to do my part anyway mentality. I love that he's, at the end of it, he goes back to and he sees, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe with old white hair just is like, that was creepy, but I'm there for it. He's creepy. Well,
if you want somebody to play creepy, get yourself a Willem Dafoe. Even his name. It's not William, it's Willem.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a name. It's not even a word.
Oh, while we're talking about it, can we just is Amber Heard British?
Yeah. When did that happen? She's from Texas. I mean, love the girl to death.
Yeah, I mean that
she looks good in that outfit all wet.
She does. She really does. This is not a perfect movie by any stretch. There are definitely some parts of it that I'm like, really? Huh? Okay, whatever. The Amber Heard with a British accent is one of those. The Icelandic singing to him as he's going. I'm like, really? Okay, whatever.
Again, Finland.
Yeah. What did I say?
Iceland. They're different countries.
Okay. They're all up there. They're northern and icy.
We have maps. We can know these things.
I don't have one of those. So one of the other things that I kind of bumped up against too is, while we're talking about Martian Manhunter, is the scene where Martha goes to talk to Lois. Mm-hmm. I really would have liked that better if it had actually been Martha. I think the fact that was Martian Manhunter pretending to be Martha took away from some of the significance of that scene. I really liked the fact that they would have been bonding over. It
stole the gravity.
That they had been bonding over mourning for Clark, and the line that fake Martha says is that there are only two people on the planet that knew him as who he really was, and we share this. We should share this together. And then when you come out of that scene and we realize that, oh, that's, Martian Manhunter, it kind of takes away from that to me.
It does. It definitely does. It's a good reveal.
Yeah.
I like the twist, but it does steal a little bit.
Again, it's also, that goes back to the Chekhov's gun that you were talking about. We see that's the reveal that's Martian Manhunter, and then we don't see him again until he's having a conversation with Bruce at the very end of the thing, which was shot after everything was all said and done.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can tell. If you look at Ben Affleck, he definitely looks...
He's trimmed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't all jacked up like he was for the rest of the movie.
Still looks good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We like our Afflecks to be jacked, though.
I like a jacked fleck.
Okay, that's enough.
Settle down. Sorry. So, what else you got there?
So really, I mean, just in, kind of conclusion.
Sure.
It was the movie was about heartbreak and loss. And that is a very Catholic, that is a very Jewish, that is a very biblical thing. I mean, even to this day, you will see, your good Catholics, your good Jews, not encouraging, but saying, don't turn away from the loss.
Yeah.
You have to endure. You have to go through it.
Well,
and you'll come out the other side a better person.
This movie was definitely a rite of passage for the characters, in so much that when Diana's telling Bruce about the first time that Darkseid invaded, and we get that amazing battle sequence where the armies of Man and the armies of the Amazons and the armies of Atlantis fought together with Green Lantern and the gods of Olympus. Everyone on Earth came together to defend Earth against this invading army. And then we had the old gods. And then we have Steppenwolf even say to Diana, you have the blood of the old gods in you. Mm-hmm. The old gods are no longer there to protect Earth. And this is a rite of passage for the Justice League to now become...
to carry the torch.
The new gods, if you will. And we have, Superman, who is the most powerful being in existence, or at least on Earth. And he is the new Zeus. And we have Diana, who is Hera, Batman, who is the new, Man-at-Arms, or, whatever you want to... however you want to correlate them or whatever. Flash is...
Yeah.
Who's the Greek god that's fast?
Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's Roman, because it's a planet.
Yes.
Apollo?
Apollo.
Yeah.
Sun god.
Yeah. Anyway, you get where we're going with
Apollo?
That. Yeah. But you see the correlation between what they did. I want to see more. I want to see more of it.
I definitely want to see more.
And the other thing that I really want to see more about, that I'm really, really, really pissed that I know we're never going to see, is because of everything that happened with Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers and all of that. After seeing this, I want more Cyborg.
Yeah.
I want to see more of a story about a man who, with a thought, can change the entire financial structure of what we're doing.
Yeah.
With, a blink of a, thought of his mind, can access the entire nuclear arsenal and just,
And how can that be good or bad?
Yeah.
Because it can get real bad real fast.
Real fast, yeah.
It's not lost on me that Joe Morton, the guy that plays Victor's father, is the guy from Terminator 2 that creates Skynet. He's created both of them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. I don't want to think about it. You think about it.
Is your mind not blown?
Are you not entertained?
Speaking of that, did Zeus not look a lot like 300?
Oh, yeah. You think?
The amount of abs in this movie really made me want to do a sit-up. I didn't, but I thought about it.
I don't sit up now. This hurts. But yeah, no, the Amazonians are just...
Those women were jacked. The ones that were hitting the things that caused the walls to crash down.
Impressive. Most impressive. Yeah, very, very much so. Anyway, we have rambled on
far too
long enough. This was an amazing adventure. This was a wonderful piece of cinematic storytelling, and I really hope that we get to see more.
Lots more.
Yeah.
Especially in this format.
Yeah. Anyway, leave your comments down below if you've stuck down to the end. Tell us what you're most excited about the future of the Snyderverse, or if you're over it and ready to move on to other forms of storytelling. Stay tuned for stuff that we've got coming. I don't know what that's going to be. And in the meantime, we'll see you then.
Peace.